Hello YouTube, what a trading day today. This is Gold Silver Strength here, and this is a market recap for July 30th, 2020, and we'll be going over the three major US indices, the DXY, Russell 2000, Bitcoin, gold, and silver. And what the indicator we'll be using today is the moving average cross of the 9-day moving average and the 26-day moving average. So going over the DXY, nothing changed much from the indicator perspective. It formed a red candle with a top tail. It's still showing signs to go down. Price action wise, it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon from the recent past, and you can expect the DXY to continue downward further. If you want to know how far down it could go, you might want to do a Fibonacci retracement or some other indicator to give you potential targets on where this might head down. As for the Dow, it formed a doji candle in the middle between the 9-day and 26-day moving average. So it basically chopped sideways today. Very interesting that it touched the 26-day moving average and then went back up. Moving forward, it will probably continue to chop sideways and retest the 26-day moving average, but it should be on track to make very new highs in the short term for the Dow. The Nasdaq, on the other hand, put on some gain. The only indices that put on gain today, it briefly touched the 26-day moving average, and now it's touching the 9-day moving average, and it should be on track to touch 11,000, a previous high, and if it wants to go higher than that, it should depend on what news surrounds the markets around that time, or if any other significant candles form during that session. As for the S&P 500, it traded sideways again. Didn't make any new highs or lows. It kind of traded in the range today. It's still around the 9-day moving average, and it still hasn't tested the recent highs of 32.75, and it still needs to test the March highs at around 33.91. So the S&P 500 has a lot of upside, and it still has bullish momentum according to the MA cross. Russell 2000 chopped sideways today. Nothing important happened today as far as the price action or anything related to the MA cross. So it will continue to trade sideways, and until something major happens, then we can forecast something that could happen in the near future. As for Bitcoin, it traded sideways. It tested the 11,300 highs yesterday, and it still traded sideways today. Very resistant to not just drop down as it did in the past. And right now it formed a triple top from the highs it formed back the last 3 days. So what does this mean moving forward? Honestly, it could still trade sideways, break through these recent highs, or drop down to a support level. But man, Bitcoin has been just maintaining very strong bullish momentum. It's still very far from the 9-day moving average. And if you can see in the past, anytime a price action moved beyond the 9-day moving average, it consolidated until the 9-day moving average caught up to that point, and then it made another break up or down. So in terms of what you should do or what you should not do, definitely don't short the Bitcoin, but it is on track to chop sideways until a another major move up or move down. For gold and silver, it formed another doji candle, but a smaller doji compared to 2 days prior. Again, same story as Bitcoin. It's just trading sideways, charging up its energy for another big move up or down, waiting for the 9-day moving average to catch up. So according to the MA cross, it looks like it has about a couple more days before another big move happens. So probably sometime next week or so. As for silver, on the other hand, it definitely sold off today, and it briefly touched the 9-day moving average, but slightly bounced up. And same thing as for the other commodities. It's still in between the range. It's still in between the big doji candle it formed 2 days ago, and it's just charging its energy for another very volatile move in the future. So for Bitcoin, gold, and silver, should be on the lookout for something very major to happen next week. But for tomorrow, I do expect the same old story to trade sideways. And to recap for the entire market, everything put on a fractional loss, except for the Nasdaq, which put on very slight gain. This isn't too surprising, considering the environment we're in, with the jobless numbers claims, the possible stimulus checks stopping at the end of this month. Ton of news is going to happen, and we're just going to start the third quarter off with a bang for next week. So it's just something to look out for and to be wary about, because you don't want to start fishing for trades because you have an itchy trade finger. You should look for opportunities that define your edge, something that you know has a high probability of working. And then as a result of you knowing the markets, knowing your edge, you make high probability trades that just make you money. And that's the end of the story for that. You don't care whether the stock goes up or down or sideways. You make money in the market, and that's where you draw the line as a trader. You don't put any emotions into this, and all you do is take profits from the market. So hope this helps, guys, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video tomorrow.